Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Roger Chen, and I'm from the University of San Francisco, representing Center for Asia Pacific Studies. And today we are very pleased to talk to Pramin, about to discuss his company. So Pramin, why don't you kind of briefly introduce yourself as well as your company, the BotGauge. So then after that, we can start our conversation.
Sure, Raja. Thanks for inviting me, first of all. Pramin here, CEO and co-founder of BotGauge. So, we have built an AI QA agent for SaaS companies, especially for B2B SaaS, where we help them to release faster, remove testing being the bottleneck. That being said, usually companies struggle to reach coverage even after 4, 5 months. And here we'll be able to increase their coverage in 2 weeks of time uh, by with the AAQA engine which we have built. So that's the just about the company. Yeah, happy to talk more about it.
Thank you very much for this introduction.
BotGauge using AI agents to test software product.
Maybe you can spend a little bit of time to talk about, to kind of give us more detailed explanation of your service, your products. If you have even better, if you have an example to help our audience to better understand, maybe just give us an example as well.
Sure. So if you take any SaaS companies, right, the entire QA process they'll be having two sets. Either they will have an in-house team or they outsource the QA to a certain agencies. So where there is an in-house QA, so how we are helping them is like we become a supplementary critical component into their flows. That being said, consider that they are using an open source tool, right? They have 5,000 test cases to be automated. So even after 8 months, they would have reached maybe 1,000 mark maximum if the process is set right. But now what we are saying, okay, your in-house team can focus on more complex tasks. Let us take care of the end-to-end critical flows, that is the regression flows. And that regression flows, let's say that they have around 1,500 regression flows in place, which will be taken care by the QA agent, and the onboarding of the test cases happens in 3 to 4 weeks of time. Now you can understand, right? So we are removing the critical chunk of the workflow and taken care by the QA agent so that they can completely focus on the edge case scenarios. That is one way we are helping the SaaS team, which has an in-house team. Now consider a SaaS, a growth stage start Series A, Series B, where they don't have a in-house QA team, dedicated QA. Instead of that, the developers are testing. There, what we are going to do, we will be taking the QA agent. So we being QA agent, right? The developed QA agent will be taking care of the end-to-end plus the positive and negative scenarios so that the developers free up their work. And instead of they focusing on testing, now they can focus on their core activities, developing and releasing the feature. So that's how we help both the teams to achieve faster release cycle. Faster release cycle means the faster feedback loop so that they can build more features, release what is relevant for the customer with all the feedback loop established.
Thank you. That is very, very good. So, if I understand you correctly, your main kind of a target audience will be companies, software development people, right? And
Yeah.
also, and also maybe you can just elaborate a little bit. When you say Q and a question and answer, what's the scenario? Are these question and answer answering the questions of the customers or answering the questions of other people when you say QA?
Could you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, because you mentioned about actually QA question and answer several times. Maybe you can just elaborate a little bit. What is the question and answer context you're referring to?
No. What I was referring to was the quality assurance testing, right? So I was referring to, see, let me tell about the entire SDLC cycle. So first, the requirement will be built by the product manager by doing the market research. Once the requirement come into play, the development team start building those requirements into reality, right? Once that requirement builds into reality in the form of software. That software has to be tested end to end, not only that particular component, but the entire software has to be tested end to end before it goes to production. So here there are different type of testing comes into play. First, the developer writes a unit testing that will be component wise. Then after that, an integrated testing. Then the end-to-end testing part of it. That is end-to-end testing is nothing but functional UI DB, where that application get tested from top to bottom, or all the critical flows, beautiful flows in an integrated manner before it goes into production. So we are focused on that critical part, the functional UI, DB, API. That end-to-end testing part is the one which the BotGauge QA agent is gonna take care of it. Hope I answer your question, Roger.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Actually, this is also something I would like to kind of discuss further with you. So, one term, when you say what goes through production in your context, could you explain to us, maybe to my audience, what do you mean going to production? I assuming you're talking about the prototyping to the production. So, could you elaborate a little bit? What do you mean by that?
See, let's consider any software company. Okay, let's consider Jira. So Jira constantly is constantly adopt or create features into the platform. So when they are building a feature, consider that XYZ feature. What they do, they not only build test that feature, they test the end-to-end product of task creation, start creation, or any modification in X places. That everything uh, tested and then it get released into production. So production is nothing but a stable, enhanced feature set software is given to the users, end users, to start using it, right? So that they don't see any blockers. Let's consider tomorrow you're planning to log into Jira and you logged in and you're trying to create a subtask. If you're not able to do, definitely there'll be the user won't be satisfied or user will get blocked. So that will in turn affect the business of any companies, right? So that's why I said that even though the testing is a boring activity, it's the most critical activity for any company because it's directly impacting their business activities.
Okay, so if I understand, basically when you say production, it basically means release the software code to the user so they
That's
can,
right.
basically publish the product so people can use it.
That's right. That's right, Raja. Yeah.
It's very clear that you talked about your value propositions, saving times. So maybe if beside kind of reducing the time, the productivity, what would you tell to the potential customer companies, the value that your product or your offer is going to offer to the companies? Maybe just one
Yeah.
more time. What kind of value are you going to offer to the customers?
Yeah, maybe I'll just talk about how the evolution of testing happens, right? Before
Mm,
10, 15 years, any software was following a waterfall model. That being said, they may have once in 6 months of release, right? Or once in a year, where the entire thing can be tested manually because they had enough time to test their application end to end before it goes for release.
mm,
Now, now once it started evolving, the software started evolving, right? The customer expectations started increasing. So they're like, okay, I want S amount of feature in a shorter period of time. And the software companies wants to iterate that feature and understand whether it's useful for the customers or not. Then came the agile methodology where the things started to go in a faster manner, the software release. So from 6 months, it started reducing to 3 months, 2 months, weekly, hourly, even in minutes, certain companies learn. Now, when they're doing that, manual testing is not going to work. Then then the concept of automation came into picture, the pressing need. So automation, then it started with Selenium, open source tools, Cypress, all those tools started coming into the play where companies started utilizing it. But it has inherent problems. For example, maintenance. Every release, the DOM structure changes. Elements moves around, the ID changes. So the Selenium started working with the IDs, exports, the locators. So once that started changing, consider that a person has written 2000 Selenium scripts. Now, when a new build, when it's preparing for a new release, when they try to execute those Selenium scripts, 60 to 70% is going to fail because of the locators issue, not because of any bugs. So ideally, they want to find bugs, but instead of that, they'll be fixing the test cases and then they'll be executing. Then they'll be able to find the bugs. You can see the iteration is going to be very high from a testing perspective. Then came the low-code tools, where a company started building in natural language, trying to resolve the maintenance issue, but they were not successful. I would categorically say maybe they're 60% successful. But in the agentic model, we are able to do much better complex scenarios can be handled. For example, a table validation, a complex verifications on the page with zero maintenance. That being said, without any involvement from the human to rectify. That means there is no experts or there is no scripts. It's just the natural language in the high level format where everything gets executed. Now we have removed the maintenance portion of it. We have removed any human who has to be technically sound to build the test cases. Because of two reasons, the outcome started or the outcome delivery became more prominent. That being said, instead of, as I mentioned before, instead of taking 6 to 8 months of time to build 1,500 test cases, that is a critical flows, now we'll be able to do it in 3 to 4 weeks of time with BotGauge AQ agent. So not only we are reducing the time, plus we are also making sure it's efficient from a costing perspective. And end of the day, we are helping them to release faster and get the feedback loop established.
Thank you for watching.